Hey, so I've been reading your feedback on my previous crochet kits tutorials, and even though I had this tutorial recorded already, I am in real time making adjustments. So I did get another Wicked crochet kit, specifically Glinda, and I want to re-record making her body. So her body is made from feet to head all in one. So what you're going to do is you're first going to make one leg, then the second leg, attach it, then you're going to crochet her body here, and then you're going to make her head, right? And then you're going to make her arms separately, attach them, then you're going to make her skirt, and then her hair separately, and then her crown, and so forth, right? But the main step that's been tripping you guys up is the starting, right? The pattern calls for a magic ring, but there are two methods for starting. Two. The first method is chaining twice and then doing 6 single crochets into the first chain, and the method that the instructions call for is making a magic ring and doing 6 single crochets into that. I prefer the magic ring, and so many of us prefer the magic ring because you don't have this gape, like this big hole in the center of your work, because you can adjust it. But with the chaining, when you do the chain 2 method, you do have that space, and I'll show you what that looks like. But being that you're just starting out, you're not striving for not striving for perfection here. You're striving to manage your hook while you're holding onto your yarn and you're practicing your stitches. Okay, so whatever you do, understand that perfection is not the goal here, and even if your work comes out looking a little wonky, that's to be expected. What you can do is get another kit and rework the steps, because after you do it the first time, you'll get the hang of it, and I guarantee your second project will look way better than the next. Okay, so the first method I'm going to show you is chaining 2. So chaining 2, you're going to start off with a slip knot. Slip knot, you're going to take your yarn, you're going to fold it in half and then twist it, right? After you twist it, put your fingers in between or in it from behind, okay? Then you're going to pick up your yarn like so. Notice how I'm still holding on to it with my left hand, but I'm also pulling it through my loop with my right hand, and I'm pulling that loop up to create this knot here, right? Let me do it again. Fold your yarn in half, fold your yarn in half, twist, fold that loop down, and pick up the yarn here, right? And as I'm pulling the loop, that knot in the center is getting tighter, okay? And you can adjust it by pulling the leg and or the loop, right? See? Now insert your hook into that loop. This is big, so you can again pull at the leg. Still want to leave room for your needle to move in and out, right? Now we're going to do a chain. For a chain, you're just going to put your yarn over your hook, pull your yarn through the loop on your needle. Okay, you see one braid, do it again. Yarn over your hook, pull through. All right, now you have two. You have 2 chains, okay? Now, moving on to a single crochet. Single crochet, you're going to take your hook and you're going to put it through the first chain that you made, right in the center, okay? Then yarn over hook, pull it through the first chain, yarn over hook, and now pull that yarn through the 2 loops that are on your needle, both of them. All right, first single crochet is complete. Now insert your hook again into the center of the first chain that you made, yarn over hook, bring your yarn up, yarn over hook, pull through 2. That was 2. Third single crochet, insert your hook into the first chain that you made, yarn over hook, pull it through the chain, yarn over hook, pull through 2. Now we have 1, 2, 3. Need 3 more. Insert, yarn over hook, pull it up, yarn over hook, pull through 2. Insert, yarn over hook, pull it up, yarn over hook, pull through 2. Insert, yarn over hook, pull yarn up, yarn over hook, pull through 2. Now you have 6 single crochets. Let's count to make sure, and we're counting each braid. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Right? So this is our starting ring. Notice how there's this spacious hole in the center? That is not pretty, right? So this is why we like the next method I'm going to show you. Right? I'm just going to undo this. Okay. Now instead of starting with a slip knot, you're starting with a magic circle. Magic circle, you're wrapping the yarn around your finger twice to create this X here. So in this X, there is a bottom strand and a top strand. You're going to insert your hook below both strands, and then you're going to use your hook to take up the top strand, which is back here, right? Pull that through the first loop, pull it up, and then you're gonna create a twist, right? Create a twist here, and then you're going to yarn over your hook and pull it through that loop on your needle. That was your first chain that you made, right? It doesn't count unless the instructions say so. Now you have your magic ring and a chain. See the chain? All right, so this magic loop, you can adjust it by pulling on this shorter piece of yarn, like so. But we're not going to adjust it too much right now because we're going to work into it. Now we're going to put 6 single crochets into the center. Insert, yarn over hook, pick it up, yarn over hook, pull through 2. Insert, yarn over hook, pull it up, and yarn over hook, pull through 2. And be sure to keep this little piece of yarn in front of your work, like so. You're going to be crocheting on top of that. Insert, yarn over hook, pull it up, yarn over hook, pull through 2. Insert, yarn over hook, pick it up, pull, yarn over hook, pull through 2. Insert, yarn over hook, pull it up, yarn over hook, pull through 2. How many do we have now? Let me count. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and 1 more. Insert, yarn over hook, pull it up, yarn over hook, pull through 2. All right, so now we have 6, and there's a gaping hole in the center, but what we're gonna do is pull the shorter end of our yarn to close it. See? Nice. See? All right, let me know which method you were able to pick up, which one you prefer. If you have any feedback on this video, maybe I was moving too fast. If I am moving too fast and the button for slowing the video down doesn't work for you, let me know. Okay, I do want you to learn. Crocheting is a great skill, and I hope I'm able to help you learn it. Thanks. Bye. Okay, so I hope that my previous video was helpful. We had went over doing the beginning round of Glinda's feet and legs. I showed you how to do the chaining method, where we chain 2 and then do 6 single crochets into the first chain, and then I showed you how to do the magic ring and then 6 single crochets into that. And then I also told you that I enjoy the magic ring more because it gives you a more professional look, whereas chaining 2 and then crocheting into the first chain gives you a work with gaps in it, right? All right, so now this is the result of me doing a magic ring and 6 single crochets into it, and then pulling on the shorter end of my yarn to tighten that magic ring. Okay, so now the second step would be to perform increases. And increases, you're going to be crocheting twice into one space. Okay, so the spaces we are looking at are the 6 single crochets that we made around, and when you turn your work, let's see, all right, so when you turn your work around, you can tell it's kind of washed out. Okay, when you turn your work, you can see the braids, which indicate the top of each stitch. When you work into it, you're going to be going, first of all, you're going to be working backwards. You're not working clockwise, you're working counterclockwise, right? So from right to left, if that makes sense. And you're working in around, right? So the first stitch we're going to be working into is right here, which is the first braid. Oh, almost forgot. I gotta get my stitch marker. 1 second. Okay, got it. So stitch markers are basically big safety pins. They don't always look like this, but this is the one I have. And I use it to mark the beginning and end of each row. Alright, so the last stitch I made in the first row was the one right here. I'm gonna put my stitch marker into it. Notice how I went underneath the braid, right? That space right there. Alright, moving on. The first stitch that we're going to work in will be the first stitch of the previous round, and that's this single crochet right here. We're going to put our needle underneath that braid. So there's the space right there. Can you see? Hopefully you can see. So I'm right here. You're going to wrap your yarn around your hook. Oh, not the shorter end. Almost got caught up. Alright, so take your yarn that is attached to the yarn supply. I'll just say that. Alright, so wrap your yarn around your hook and pull that yarn through your stitch. Right, now you have 2 loops. Yarn over hook, pull through 2. Now, because we're working an increase, we're going to work into that same space again. Okay? Put your yarn right into that space, right there. Should be easier to find because there's already a stitch there. Wrap your yarn around your hook, pull it up, yarn over hook, and pull through 2. Now you have 2 stitches in 1. That is 1 increase made. You're going to do that again for each stitch around. There are 5 more stitches left to work into. So our next stitch is right next to it, is the next braid. Insert, yarn over hook, pull it up, yarn over hook, pull through 2. Okay, again, insert, yarn over hook, pull up, yarn over hook, pull through 2. Now I'm going to speed it up, right? Eventually, you guys will be able to hit a flow state just like this. but don't sweat it. All right, and then the last stitch that we're going to work into has our stitch marker into it, already in it. So I'm going to remove it so that it's not in my way, and then plant my 2 single crochets into it. All right, and this is the last stitch that I made. I'm going to replace my stitch marker. Okay. All right, so if you notice, the pattern has at each step, this is step 1, 6 single crochets into a magic ring. Step 2, 6 increases. INC means increases. And then you have a number in brackets, right? So for step 1, 6 means you're supposed to have 6 stitches in total, and we did. And then for step 2, 12 means 12 stitches. Now let's count to make sure we have 12 stitches. Remember, our stitch marker is in the last stitch that we made. We'll count from that stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Okay? We have the correct amount of stitches, so we did something right. All right? All right, we're back. And at this point, you have completed step 2, where we did a total of 6 increases, which left you with 12 stitches in, the previous round. Okay, all right, now we're moving on to step 3. For step 3, we're going to do 1 single crochet and 1 increase. We're going to repeat that pattern 6 times, and then we're going to have a total of 18 stitches. Okay, starting out, we're going to do 1 single crochet, insert, yarn over hook, pull it up, yarn over hook, pull through 2. That's 1 single crochet. Now we're done with that stitch. We're gonna move to the next stitch, and then in the next stitch we're gonna put 2 single crochets into it. That's 1. We're gonna do another one. That's 2. Okay. Now we have 3 single crochets that are completed. We just did 1 single crochet, 1 increase. Now we gotta repeat those steps 5 more times, okay? So into the next stitch, we're gonna do 1 single crochet. All right, we're done with that stitch. In the next stitch, we're gonna do 2 single crochet. All right, we've completed the pattern twice. We have 6 stitches. Again, single crochet once, repeat into the next stitch, but twice. 1 and 2. Again, 1 single crochet, and in the next we're going to do 2. 1, 2. 1 single crochet, 1, 2. 1 single crochet, and in the last we're going to make an increase, 1 and 2. Okay. Stitch marker back, and I hope by this point you're able to work a little faster, because you know what a single crochet is, and that will be the basis of her entire body, really. And then other than the increase, we'll work a decrease, but I'll show you that when we get to it, and that is coming up. Okay, moving along, round 4 and 5 I'll show in this video, because for 4 we're just going to do 18 single crochets around. So in each stitch we're just going to single crochet, right? Nothing much to it. There's no increase at all. We're just doing 1 single crochet in each stitch. Okay. 1 single crochet in each stitch. Okay, and you should see your work start to curve inward. Okay, you can just flip it on this right side. So okay, keep going, and I'm not counting because I know my stitch marker is where it's supposed to be, and my last stitch will be where my stitch marker is. Okay, so I'm at my stitch marker. I'm going to remove it, and then I'm going to put a single crochet into it. All right, so you should have this. It looks like a little hat. All right, now round 5. We're going to do 3 single crochets and then a decrease. So the decrease is the opposite of an increase. Instead of working 2 single crochets into 1 space, we are going to take 2 spaces. We're gonna do 1 stitch over 2 spaces. Let me show you how that looks. So let me put my stitch marker back in. All right, and then we're gonna do our 3 single crochets. 1, 2, 3. All right, now we're gonna do a decrease. So this space right here and this space, we're gonna combine it. Let me show you how. Insert your hook like you would normally do with a single crochet. Catch your yarn, bring it up. Right, now you have 2 loops. You're not gonna finish your single crochet here. You're gonna go into the next stitch. Yarn over hook, pull it up. Now you've worked in 2 spaces. You have 3 loops on your hook. You're gonna do another yarn over. Yarn over and pull it through all 3. You've just completed your first decrease. Okay? Alright, let's do this again. Insert, pick up your yarn, bring it through. Insert, pick up your yarn, bring it through. You have 3 loops, yarn over hook, pull it through all 3. Now I'm going to undo that because the pattern did not call for that, but I just wanted to, it didn't call for you to do it twice, but I got carried away. Anyways, so we started out with 3 single crochets and then a decrease. Now we're going to so we're going to do, let me see. All right, so we're going to do 3 single crochets, 6 decreases, and then 3 single crochets. So I could have left that decrease in. All right, so we did 1 decrease. We're going to do another. That's 2, another. That's 3, another. That's 4, another. That's 5, and then last one. 6, and then all that should be left is 3 spaces for your single crochets. So 1 single crochet in the next stitch. That's your second single crochet. And in the last stitch where your stitch marker is, you're gonna put your last single crochet. Okay, then put your stitch marker back in. Alright, so you should have something that looks like this. Now your work is curving inward. It's gonna look like this. And okay, so we are now at row 6. After row 6, we're going to do a color change, and then we're going to continue with row 7, and I'll show you what that looks like right at the end. But for row 6, we're going to do 4 single crochets, 2 decreases, and then 4 single crochets. All right, By now you should know what a single crochet is, so I won't repeat myself just for the sake of time. Alright, so I have 4 single crochets. I can count that by looking at the top of my stitches. So I'm not going to count the stitch that my stitch marker is holding because that's the stitch from the previous round. But next to it, I'll start counting from there. 1, 2, 3, and 4. I'm counting the braids. So we have 4 single crochets. Now we're going to do 2 decreases. 2 decreases. We're going to go into both stitch and bring up yarn. This is our first stitch. We brought up yarn. Now going into our second stitch, we brought up yarn again. Wrap your yarn over your hook and pull it through all 3 loops on your hook. Do it again one more time. Okay, and now we should have just 4 single crochets left to work in the row. 1, 2, 3, and for the 4th stitch, we're not going to finish our stitch completely. We're going to start off with inserting our hook, yarning over our hook, bringing up that loop, and then we're going to pause right here because the pattern wants us to change to this skin tone color. I'm going to go get that and start the video again. Okay, so now that we have completed our color change, we can continue to round 7. For round 7, we're going to be crocheting in the back loops. So I've told you to count your stitches. You can look at the top of the stitch and you're going to count the braids or the V's, right? So the braid has a front loop and a back loop, right? What this pattern is telling you to do is work in the back loops only. You're going to leave this front loop still visible, and you'll see what that looks like when you're done. So to work in the back loops, you're doing a single crochet. Let me see how many single crochets. Yes, you're just going to do a single crochet round. So we're locating that first stitch, which is this one, right? Right there, right? We're going to split the braid and put our needle under the back loop. Then we're going to yarn over hook, pull the yarn up, yarn over hook, pull the yarn through both loops, okay? We're going to continue to do that all the way around. That was 1. This is 2. Again. 3. 4. Oops. If you notice that your needle is going in between your yarn, take it out and try again, because then that way if you do make a mistake, you can easily pull your yarn out or undo your work. If you split your yarn, you keep going, it's going to create little knots that's just going to be really annoying, and you're going to eventually just have to start all the way over instead of just undoing 1 stitch or 1 row. Okay? Keep going. Careful not to pick up those strands of yarns that you tied together in the beginning. And I think someone asked me, how do I crochet so fast? And this isn't my fastest speed. I'm gonna take this stitch marker out so that I can work in the last back loop. But yeah, this comes from practice. The more you practice, the faster you'll get, and it just becomes muscle memory. Okay. All right, you should have something like this. You see that the front loops are exposed? These are the front loops. You see that? Right? Okay, so here we have a foot, and now we're starting with her leg. Okay, so 9 through 12, you're just doing the same thing. You're single crocheting around, but now you're not just working in the back loops, you're working in the front and back loops like normal. So I'll do round 9 with you, and then I'm gonna restart the video once I'm done with round 12. Okay, so here we go. Oops. I'm so excited because Teen Wolf, there's a new season on Netflix, and I'm gonna go watch it as I finish the rest of this leg. Okay. Okay. You should have something that looks like this. Alright. Okay, so keep going. I'm gonna put my stitch marker back. Keep going until you have round 12 finished. It says when that's done, fill with stuffing, and then you're gonna repeat the pattern again. So actually I will continue the video after I have my second leg completed. The only leg you're gonna fasten off though is your first leg. So this leg you'll fasten off. Okay? Alright, so the instructions are telling us to pair these together. You're gonna first make 9 single crochets until it reaches the side of the leg. Okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, 9. Now we're going to chain 2. 1 and 2. Okay, so to join these 2 legs, we're going to make a single crochet onto the first leg. Okay, so so let me slow it down. All I did was insert my hook, yarn over hook, pull it up, yarn over hook, pull through both. Okay, now they're joined, and then you're gonna make 9 single crochets. You're continuing on to the second leg. Okay, now we're going to be working into the chain that we created, making 1 single crochet in each chain. So this 1, and 2. Alright, then it tells you to do 1 single crochet right where the stitch marker is. That's where you're going to put your single crochet, and that completes row 13. And this is what you have. for round 14, we're gonna do 5 single crochets and then an increase, and then we're gonna repeat that pattern 4 times. So here's the first time. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm gonna cut this a little bit. Right, and then single crochet, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So 4 and 5, you're working into the chain 2, but the other side of the chain 2 that you didn't work into. So remember we talked about front and back loops. So the loops that were unworked, that's the one you're working into. Alright. This is an increase. Just confirm that. Might be increasing here. One, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Increase. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This yarn keeps getting in the way. 5, and then we're gonna increase. 'Okay, this is what you should have so far. Okay, so for round 15 and 16, we're just going to be doing single crochets around. This is a good time to check that you have the correct stitch count. Alright, so I'm going to start 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, and 28. Good job. That was for me. Good job. Alright, so now I'm going to do that one more time and we will pick back up. Oh, actually I'm going to do that one on camera as well because we're doing a color change to pink. So we're going to do one more round like normal, and then in the last stitch we're going to complete a color change. Okay, so I started to do my last single crochet, but I didn't complete it because we're gonna do a color change. And how we do that is like before, we created a slip knot with our new color, which is going to be pink. Right? We're gonna insert our hook into it, adjust the loop size by pulling on the legs, and then we're gonna bring that loop through our single crochet loops. We can cut the skin tone color yarn here, and we can tie it to the end of the pink. I'm gonna make 2 to 3 knots just to make sure it's secure, and then be careful not to crochet with it because it does get confusing. So what you can do is just tuck it into the other leg. And speaking of tucking, the pattern does tell you to start stuffing as you go, but I'm going to stuff later. Right, now that my last stitch is complete, I'm going to put my stitch marker back. Okay, and then we're going to move on to round 17, which is basically just single crocheting around, so I'll do that here. This should look like so far. Okay, here's what it looks like in the back. Alright, so we're going to continue with round 18. Okay, round 18, we're working in the back loops. Again, if you turn your work to yourself, you notice that there are braids along the top of your stitches. There's a front loop, the one closest to you, and then there's a back loop. We're going to be working in the back loops. We're going to insert our needle right in between those loops and bring it out the back. Right? Then start single crocheting like normal. You know, insert your hook, yarn over hook, pull the loop up, yarn over hook, pull through 2. Keep going all the way around. Okay, so now we're on round 19. Round 19 is telling us to do 5 single crochets and 1 decrease. We're going to repeat that pattern all the way around, and at the end we should have a total of 24 stitches. 1, 2, oops. Alright, for round 20, we're just single crocheting around. Now's a good time to check your stitch count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, and 24. Alright, we're at 21. This is what your work should look like so far. Alright, we're going to do 4 single crochets and 1 decrease, and we're going to repeat that around. 1, 2, 3, 4, and decrease. 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 Okay. Okay, so next for rounds 22 to 23, we're gonna do we're just gonna single crochet around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. We're gonna do that one more time. Okay. All right, so we weren't supposed to complete that last single crochet because the instructions tell us to change the skin tone color yarn. Okay, so I'm just gonna undo that last loop. I'm gonna try to keep my stitch marker in place while I do that. So I'm just gonna grab this loop and grab the second loop. And I'm gonna grab my skin tone color yarn, create my slip knot. I'm gonna insert my hook into the slip knot, adjust it to size, and then use that to finish my last single crochet. I hope you guys can hear me correctly. I'm going to cut the pink and then tie it to the beginning of my skin tone color yarn. Okay. And I'm going to tuck those strands in. Okay. Alright, so now that we have changed to skin tone color yarn, we can start with round 24, working in the back loops. Working the back loops, we're going to do 3 single crochets and 1 decrease. I'm going to repeat that pattern around. Okay, in the back loops only. 1, 2, 3, decrease. 1, 2, 3, and decrease. 1, 2, 3, and decrease. 1, 2, 3, and decrease. Okay. Almost done. At this point, I'm going to start stuffing her body because then the whole